Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. We got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys today. We're going to be discussing the Hawks injury update, lengthy actually update just released before the show. Also going over the Brooklyn road trip, kind of those two stinkers the Hawks put up, and then they come right back and sweep the back-to-back, winning against the Knicks and the Cavs in two good wins. So we'll discuss those and previewing Hawks versus Grizzlies on Friday. And then spring training performances. The Braves continue to struggle on in spring training. We've got great pitching performances so far. Ronaldo Lopez, Chris Sale, Spencer Strider's curveballs look great. And then, hitting performances, you've got, Marcelo Zuna keep hitting well. Forrest Wall has shown a lot of ability in this spring. Unfortunately, Jared Kelenic has gotten off to a slow start. But, the Braves spring training is in full force. So, Hope everybody is enjoying that. But without further ado, let's get into some Hawks talk, and we'll begin with this injury update. So, last night, Jalen Johnson goes up for a rebound, comes down, sprains his ankle, rolls it pretty good, coming down from the rebound, and good news actually on this day. His X-rays were negative. He's going to be day to day. Now he's not going to play tomorrow, just so that he can rest that and make it as good as possible, but his status is day to day, and I think the Hawks dodged a bullet with that.
Oh yeah, look, I know how those ankle injuries are, personally, and it varies from person to person. It looked worse than what than what it is. So I'm glad we caught a break because we're catching strays every week. It seems.
Yeah, and at the worst time too, obviously, with Trey already out, with the Kongwu already out. And speaking of a Kongwu, we did get an update on him. He's going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. He's going to be out of the walking boot. But these big toe sprains are getting to be an epidemic over here with the Hawks. Kobe Buffkin is also now going to be down, reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. He's going to be in a walking boot for the next 7 to 10. So. It's unfortunate for Kobe, really, just when he was starting to get the legitimate role, legitimate minutes, and then he goes down. It's just really tough situation.
Yeah, because he was on the upswing. I mean, you could start seeing him getting the rhythm, the more that he got playing time up here with the Hawks. And then this happens, and then it's like he just can't catch a break.
Yeah, the more Bogey was struggling in the starting lineup, the more I thought the Hawks would have to at least explore starting Kobe Buffkin and bringing Bogey off the bench, because one, his defense. I mean, Kobe, we saw him easily be the best defender on the perimeter the Hawks have seen this season. It's not even close.
Yeah, not close.
Yeah.
Man, I seen him doing that at Michigan.
Yeah, he's been really good defensively, and he referenced that the G League really helped him get that good defensively. And I thought offensively, he did have a couple of rough games in Brooklyn. I thought Dennis Smith Jr. in particular did a pretty good job guarding him, and kind of he's a great ball pressure guy, so he's kind of disrupting Kobe's rhythm there. But overall, I think he's been pretty good offensively, and then defensively, obviously, we know what he's done. But I want to talk a little bit about Onyeka's absence, because we all know what Trey can bring to the table. The offense has obviously struggled without him. And before last night's game, the Hawks had the third worst offensive rating within the previous 4 games, which is when Trey was out. And that's not where the Hawks are typically going to be. But Onyeka Okongwu has also had a huge impact in that, because both centers that the Hawks now are playing can't shoot. And especially for DeJounte Murray, I think that it's got a lot to do with him not putting up the numbers you'd probably like to see on a consistent basis without Trey.
I agree. I mean, he's Capella. I mean, the absence of of Double O is hurting, and with Capella's, like he's not putting back, like hitting these easy layups like he usually does, and these putbacks. He's not getting these easy rebounds that that he gets all the time. It's like he's a newborn. Like he doesn't. So I think once we reevaluate Double O and get him back in the mix, I think they'll start edging his way on out. So
It's just a terrible situation for him as well. Obviously, it's never a good time to get injured, but when you look at it, this was, I think, the first time that there was going to be a legitimate question whether Onyeka Okongwu was going to take over the starting position once Clint Capella came back from his adductor injury.
mhm.
There was a question, and Onyeka goes down. We start Bruno for that game before the All Star break, and Bruno has played well in Onyeka's stead. I believe,
Yeah,
for a third string center, Bruno is definitely up there, and I think the energy that he's brought has been really good. Now, overall, he's had some highlight moments. Overall, when you look at the defense that he's played, I don't believe that he's been particularly strong on that end, especially with defensive rebounding. But overall, I thought he's been giving the Hawks decent minutes, and it definitely is an energy boost off the bench, and that's been much needed.
oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt. In short spurts, yes, he's amazing, but he can't be your long time solution. And that area, no, that can't happen because he, if you look at his career, he hasn't been that. I mean, he's been a serviceable piece, on wherever he is. So, and to your point about the injury, yeah, it is a hit because at this time because it's crunch time. We're trying to go in the right direction for the playoffs or the play in, whatever you want to call it. Um, and and like you just said, CC just came back, so it's like we just can't catch a break.
Yeah, and every single sign that the Hawks have given us point towards they are going to compete. They don't want to tank. They're not going to sit down, guys. They want to make the playoffs. They want to make the they're not going to get it through the sixth seed, but they'll have to make it through the play-in to get to the playoffs. And all the signs point that they want to do that. So they're gonna try to do that. DeJounte obviously has been leading the squad offensively without Trey, but we had in Brooklyn I'd say two stinkers to be honest with you. You start out 2-0 without Trey, and by the way, the Hawks now for their last I want to say it's since the start of 2024, maybe a month and a half or so. Um, they have always gone 2 wins, 2 losses, 3 wins, 3 losses. It's not been 1-1, 1 loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. It's just been, you'll have 2 wins, 2 losses. And like it is, there's always a consistent pattern with this team
Hmm.
in some way when it comes to the win-loss record. But in these 2 games against Brooklyn, you really saw the Hawks offense struggle a lot. And, a lot of that has to do with Trey Young. Brooklyn isn't the strongest defensive team on their own, but when they have all the wings that they can throw at you, it's probably not the best matchup for the Hawks. Even though their guard play when the Hawks went to drop coverage isn't the best. Schroeder's a serviceable point guard, but he definitely hurt us in those games. And it wasn't Mikal Bridges in the first one. Cam Johnson, they shot a ton of threes, 22 threes. I'm pretty sure the Brooklyn Nets made in that first game. And since then, in these past 2 games, the Hawks have done a much better job guarding the 3-point line. But it was, those triples were pretty deadly in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was deadly. It was. It was when okay, like yes, DJ is a ball handler, but when you don't have your main ball handler on available to you and you have, like you said, all these wings that Brooklyn throws at you, that's a recipe for disaster because now you only have like what, maybe one and a half, playmakers on the on in the starting rotation. That can't. I mean, and we're struggling making shots, and we're not moving the ball like we should. So it's it was a struggle fest.
Yeah. And I put the link in chat if anybody wants to come up. I see Foot. What's up, Foot? And Pamela also in the chat. What's up, guys?
What's up, Foot? What's up, Miss Pam?
We've got this Brooklyn, this two mini game series, I guess I'll call it, in Brooklyn. It normally have been all Mikal Bridges in the first two matchups against Brooklyn. It was in State Farm Arena, both nights. Mikal Bridges had shot in the 50, 40, 90 club against the Hawks this season.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in that first game, he didn't play that well, but it was Cam Johnson. It was Dennis Schroeder. It was all these three-point shooters that the Hawks couldn't get to, and they just shot a ton of them and made a ton of them. There was, for some reason, about the Hawks went in Brooklyn, they couldn't defend the paint, they couldn't defend the three-point line, and it was just kind of weird after seeing the defensive performance that they put on against the Jazz, and I forget what the game before that was, against Orlando too. Yeah, those two defensive performances were nice, and then when you get to Brooklyn, it kind of goes away on both sides of the ball. As we got Foot joining us up here. What's good, Foot?
What's up? Yeah,
What's
so
up,
if you look at it, I don't necessarily think it went away per se. As much as people think it did, it's just you gotta look at the competition, right? And the game plan. So yeah, I don't think it just went away. They still been playing the same game way, even for defensive, even when we won. I think offensive they've been a little bit better. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's no going around the fact that in these two games the offense was just absolutely like it was hard to watch. But they're going back to these two wins, and we'll kind of get into them a little bit later. I think the biggest improvement in the offense from the Brooklyn game is just the more side to side ball movement, and there could be even more than that going forward. There needs to be, in my opinion. But
Oh yeah, I agree. Side,
I
lots of
agree.
better side to side. I said that the ball go to the other side now.
yeah,
A little bit more. Then you have a little ISO. You have a little ISO in there every now and then, but yeah, still got a lot of proving to do.
And Ant said earlier about the ball, the like 1.5 ball handlers that the Hawks had. You can go through the roster and say, yeah, okay, we've got a point guard, DeJounte Murray, but DeJounte, as good as a scorer as good of as a high volume scorer that he is, he's not going to be able to make the same reads or run the same offense that Trae Young does, just because he's not as good of a passer, he's not as good getting to the rim. That's just going to happen. So there needs to be an adjustment, and the Hawks, I think, have slowly started to figure out something, especially in these two games.
Yeah, I think he can get to the rim, but I like his mid range. I like his mid range pull up. Right.
I think he can. I just think he doesn't like it.
I think he chose to pull up more.
Yeah.
Not that he can't get to the rim. Right. So he get into his sweet spot and make some good decisions. Because you can't always get to the rim, right? That pull up is open all the time. You got to shoot it. I would like to see that DeAndre does very good on the mid range pull up as well. I would like to see more players use that mid range game. Instead of you don't always have to get to the rack, you always got to shoot threes. I ain't saying most of them do it, but it's it's not a lot of guys shooting at mid range a lot like those guys. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you from a DeJounte standpoint that the fact that he goes doesn't want to go to the rim, even though he can. He pulls up for that mid range. I think that's true. I think it would benefit him to try to get to the rim and lay the ball up, get to the free throw line more. But with DeAndre, I think the biggest reason that he's seen this uptick in production and just how aggressive he is because he's settling for that mid-range a little bit less. I think him going to the rim, the amount of dunks he's had in the last few games have to be more dunks than he's had like the entire season. And the fact that he's shooting like 5-6 threes a game, I feel like that's opened up so many more areas of his game because he can go to that mid-range after he's kind of shown the ability, and the defense respects his ability to get to the rim now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but and I agree. But still, I was saying from DJ's standpoint, right? I don't think it's an issue of him not wanting to go to the rim, that's not really what I'm saying. I'm saying he just make that's part of his game always been. So that's good decision making is what I'm saying. Not that he don't want to. I think because I see him try to get to the rim, or attempt to get to the rim. So he just mixes his game up. He's always had that mid range game. So that's the difference. We're not used to. If you think about it, on this team, we really ain't had a mid range guy like that till DJ came.
Hunter was actually the second best mid range shooter off the dribble last year in the entire league.
Oh, I understand. I'm talking about, and you're right. But how much has he played, right?
Oh, like a ball handler doing it. Okay.
A ball, exactly.
Yeah.
The ball handler doing
it. Thinking about what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
So, and again, I think this little moment in time with this team should open up when Trey and Dovo get back. This should open up a whole lot of things, man. If they didn't learn from this, then I'm putting it on Quinn. Because now, and again, like a lot of people, cause Trey out, it's BS. It ain't got nothing to do with Trey being out. You might see something different. Guys getting a little bit more touch, have to step up. That's the only
thing. They have to run something different just because DeJounte's not Trey.
You're forced to it now. You're not relying. So if people want to say that, yes, but at the end of the day, here's my take. Game planning, what you do, how the offense run, that's on the coach, man, all day long. It ain't on no Trey or one player. Because this is, I can't subscribe to that foolishness about, well, this has happened because Trey out, this happened because Trey. Certain things are happening because they are forced to do something different. That's it. They're not relying. You can't, and that's the only thing I would say to that. But I can't say Trey ain't do this, Trey ain't do that, this, that, another. No. Well, Trey out this, no. So the team, the coach, specifically the coach and team should learn from this. Trey should learn from this as well. As he's sitting on the bench, he's seeing. He should be able to, okay, I see this, that, and this. Okay, this player can actually do this. Oh, I see what we use this guy. All right, this guy stepping up. All right, I could do this better or whatever. So
I think I think also a lot of people forget that Trey has been so available throughout his entire career. Like this is the first time in his career that he's been out with a long-term injury. Yeah, and it's just we get so used to seeing this team without him or with him that when we see it without him, we're like, okay, yeah, they need to do everything different. They need to do this. They need to do that. But yeah, you're right. As far as offensive game plan, it does need to switch. It does need to change. But how they run it is definitely going to be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Frank says, or go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. At the end of the day.
Frank said, I watched those Brooklyn games. My thought was that the Nets made every three and the Nets beat the Hawks on the board. Yeah. Something that the Hawks have done a better job in is the board in these two wins. But against the Nets.
They done what?
They've done better on the boards these last two nights.
Okay.
In these wins. But
hold on for a second. I'll be right back. I'm listening. I'll be right back, though.
You're good. But during those Nets games, you're right. They seemed to make every open three. And now I've said this a couple times on any platform that I've been on. the Hawks have been a victim of pretty bad luck 3-point shooting this season. Now, that's no excuse for their poor defense. But I'm just saying, like, teams shooting 60% from three, making every single wide open three. That's just not going to happen. But it does happen, it seems like, a lot of times for the Hawks. In these past 2 games, it's been the opposite. The Hawks have given up so many wide open threes, but Dante DiVincenzo, you saw him go 1 of 8 in the first quarter. 8 3-pointers launched by one dude in the first quarter. Pretty much all of them were open, and he missed the ball. You've got against the Cavs, Karis LeVert missing a ton of open threes. Darius Garland missing a ton of open threes.
Right.
And it's good to see, if you're a Hawks fan, that the shooting variance is kind of switching toward their favor.
It's funny. It's like we're living in the bizarro world where the teams that their shooting percentage is not so good are the teams that kill us from downtown. But then the teams that are supposed to be good from downtown, they can't hit the broad side of a barn. It's funny. It's been like that all season.
It has. As Southside says, I'm curious to see what Windler can do if he plays. Yeah. Do you see Windler getting minutes, Ant?
I don't know. I don't know who. I mean, the only person you could take minutes from is Matthews.
Yeah, because you're gonna have. I assume you're gonna have Sadiq Bey and DeAndre starting at the 3 and 4 in Memphis without Jalen. Then you've got a big gap because the Hawks' only forwards are DeAndre and Sadiq. That's their only forward on the roster now. So you could have Dylan Windler maybe taking minutes at the 3. If you want to play Garrison Matthews at the 4, I don't think they want to do that, but they might have to do that without Onyeka because they can't play him at the 4 as well. He's out. So you could maybe see him or Vit Krejci kind of sneak into the rotation here in this Memphis game.
That's what I want to see. Krejci. He needs to get some more minutes. Or he needs to be called back up.
Yeah. Virgo says, what would be considered a successful season at this point? I mean, that's going to be different for every person. For me, I think it's if we're being honest, I think they want to get. I wanted them to get out of the first round of the playoffs initially in the season. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, for me, if they can do that, that would be great. That's my business success.
That'd be a
because the way this
is Jesus moment.
The way this is gone and the way it's looking, if they can do that, it's going to show some resiliency out of these guys.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. I would love to see them get out in the first round. At least get to the second round. But I don't. From what they've done the whole season, how they've played, I don't know if I could trust their defense enough for them to play consistently, 3 to 4 games in the stretch. I don't know. I mean, we know that they can catch fire at any given moment throughout a game or 2 games or 3 games on offense. We know this, but on defense, I don't know if I could trust them yet.
Yeah, and also offensively, you would have to see Trey come back maybe in the beginning of April. But it's got to be. There's going to be a minutes restriction. There's going to be some ramp up for him. I don't know if the Hawks. It would just depend on where they are in the play-in standings, where they are as far as just injuries are concerned. If they bring Trey back right at the beginning of April, if he's eligible, then I think that's enough time for them to kind of reestablish a rhythm with Trey. But if not, then it would be really tough to kind of bring him right back into the mix just before the play-in or postseason, we'll call it. And AJ, Virgo brings up an interesting point. AJ is an option. He's ideally probably a 3 at this point, just because his lateral quickness, just to defend opposing guards, isn't that great. But actually, I would say Sadiq is probably a better defender, and that's coming from me. I think Sadiq has shown tremendous defensive improvement over the past since the calendar year, 2024. And AJ right now, I'd love to see him play over Garrison Matthews in Memphis, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But who knows? The Hawks could say tomorrow morning, they could put a PR statement. The Hawks have called up AJ Griffin of College Park. I hope he would get some burn, or somebody new enters the rotation, because you can't have an 8-man rotation. I don't think, if you're Quinn Snyder, especially with bogey heavy minutes, you don't want that. Then you've got Garrison, you've got Bruno, and then Trent Forrest. That's Garrison, Bruno, and Trent Forrest are the 3 main guys who are going to play tomorrow off the bench. But you've got to have more guys than that. You need to add a Krejci, you need to add an AJ Griffin, you need to add a Dylan Windler, like Ann was saying, at that 3, at that small forward position, just to kind of take a little load off those heavy minute guys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would love for somebody to take some minutes from Matthews, because his defense is horrible. Like, he hits a couple of shots here and there, and he gives you, some energy, but on the whole, his defense is trash.
Yeah, I don't agree with this, Southside. I don't agree with this.
No.
Foot, you're lagging. Hold on. I'm gonna send you back down, but join and rejoin. Wait, are you back, Foot?
I think he had a day.
Yeah, we can.
You just hit a dead spot.
I was switching from Wi-Fi for the house to the car. I mean, to out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. We're talking about what can the Hawks do to kind of put in the rotation, because I mentioned that Trent Forrest, Garrison Matthews, and Bruno Fernando are really the only 3 bench guys that is going to get some burn tomorrow in Memphis, with Kobe out, Onyeka out, Jalen out, Trey out. Who is going to be another guy that you want to see enter the rotation, possibly at that small forward position? Because Sadiq Bey, Garrison Matthews, and DeAndre Hunter are the only forwards on this roster to play tomorrow.
The other Matthews is a small forward too.
Well, he's ideally a shooting guard in my eyes.
Okay. So at this point, man, it's not even about positions, right? We need guys. Figure out the match. Figure out who's out there playing. We got to see if Quinn can coach now. Well, we said that last time with JJ.
They're 4-2. They're 4-2 without Trey, so I think he's done a decent job.
Hey, I can't. I have to agree for a change. I have to agree. He's 4-2. Huh? Hey, man, y'all know I keep it real. The results speak for them. I can't down the man that he 4-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even by playing teams that are down people as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we can't. That's something we can't ignore. That is something that
you gotta keep it 100. Right. And the last night's game, like I said, they showed me something. It showed me something more so from a player standpoint and their mentality. That's what I've been waiting for, some of that, right? That's what I've been wanting from these guys. So it's not just I want something from Quinn. I want something from these guys. Just like I said, JJ, bro, you got to go ahead, make it do what it do. Stop being so passive. Everybody gets smoked. Mm-hmm. But I think as fans, as those fans, I'm gonna keep those fans, they're too damn emotional about the game and players. Well, I just look at it for what it's for what it is. That's why I think Mikey, he jumped out last night. That's why I be petty with folks and trolling. That's why everybody think, oh, he's a Clint guy. Everything about Clint. No, it's not. What I will do, and Mikey, you've been there with me. I said, no. What I do is I challenge you when y'all just start saying bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Clinton he lose, he lost. I said, bro, come on, man, y'all keep it 100. Or when they try to pin one against the other, I just be trolling, but I be speaking facts, and that's why I call people out on, right?
Right.
but just like I was, if y'all remember, I was a JJ hater last year and the year before,
Yeah.
right?
So
Right?
was.
That's what they said, and all I said was what he wasn't ready. He
No.
wasn't
And he
ready.
showed he wasn't ready.
That's all I said. Because the fact I said no, he's not ready. Mentally, he's not ready. And but again, that's just emotional fans. So I just be having fun, and that don't mean I'm right or wrong. But I mean, wind up being right. I'm just saying that's not the point. I just like to stick with facts and not these made up narratives that people argue about all the time. Whether it's trade, whether it's DJ, whether it's this or that, right? You remember I was getting clowned for Clint Forrest last year. Y'all remember that?
For
And
what?
Clint Forrest. Because Clint Forrest is not
Trent.
a bad player. I like
No, he's not. He's not. He's an NBA player. Like he doesn't belong in the G League. He's an NBA
Right.
player.
yeah, and that derived from me watching the beginning of the season when we had injuries and he played a lot of minutes early on in the season. He
Yeah.
looked like he belonged. He looked controlled. He ran the
Yeah.
offense. He
Yep.
was solid. See, I think people look too much at how many points he scored, how many. He was a solid player. He was attacking the rim. Now you seeing that more he's playing, you see that coming back. He can get to the bucket. He's a great finisher. People don't really talk about how he
Well,
finishes.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
come on, Mikey. Let's have it.
Look, he can't get to the rim easily, but when he does, he's a good finisher.
You say he can't?
No, he doesn't get to the rim a lot. He's not very aggressive
No,
on
no,
offense.
no. I'm not saying so. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. He's not. He had been aggressive since beginning of last season, right?
Because his
When
main
I
strength
saw
is the
enough. Yeah, he's strong.
his,
I saw
his
enough
main strength
last
is the
year.
defensive end.
I understand that. Yes, but he's strong. He's strong. He's
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's a
he's
strong
very
guard.
he's very. I wouldn't call it creative around the rim. He knows how to get to the rim, and I'm seeing what he does. If you watch last night, how he avoided some of those guys, when he does go, like I said, he started this season out being passive, right? When your minutes go down, I guess he was out there like not trying to mess up. You start to see that at the end of last season. I started seeing him playing not to mess up, right? And that
I
affected
can't
his game.
agree. I can't agree that he's good at getting to the rim, but I do agree that when he gets to the rim, he's a good finisher. I do agree with that. But
So what's your definition of getting to the rim? Like
I'd
you don't agree
say
that he can't get the rim. What? Break that down
the
for me.
okay. So for me, somebody who gets to the rim a lot is good at getting downhill, good at putting pressure on the defense, and it has the. And a big point of getting to the rim is being able to shoot the three ball as well, because people close out, and then you attack. Trent Forrest can't shoot, so the defense sags off of him. That's why, in my opinion, he doesn't get to the rim a lot because he can't
Uh, uh,
shoot. But when he does get there,
I don't mean to cut you off
he
because
lays it up.
I was trying to. I don't mean to cut you off because I was trying to address you in that whole narrative last night when you said you had to be a good shooter to be able to open it up for you. Exact same thing you said and get to the rim. I disagree.
No, you
Right?
don't
See,
have to be. I'm
uh,
just saying it helps. I'm just saying it helps. You
it,
don't have to be.
it might, but
It does.
I guess what I'm trying to say, my whole point about it is that I'm trying to from
What's up, Tim?
getting to the rim and doing what you need to do. I don't think it has nothing to do with you being a good shooter. Don't do it at all, right? I'm under. You feel what I'm saying? I think you mix those up too much, right? You equate, all right, being able people won't side back. No. What I'm talking about getting to the rim, I've seen him when he goes downhill because he's a facilitator as well. He
But
facilitates.
when does he get down
So
the hill?
he's not. He's said again.
When does Trent Forrest, like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but when have you seen Trent Forrest get downhill?
Sometimes I start seeing beginning of the season last year when he got a lot of PT. Again, he's not.
I disagree. Let's see what Ant has to say. Ant can be an the arbitrator between us.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about what?
I don't know about Forrest coming downhill. That.
But answer this
There
question though. Answer my question, because I'm trying to understand you guys' definition when I said he can get to the rim. I think Mikey, I think you're saying really what I'm saying, but I think your definition of getting down the hill may be different than what I'm saying. That's what it seems like to me.
Well, getting downhill and getting downhill and getting to the rim are two different things.
Okay.
To the rim, like DeJounte when he comes across the pick and roll, when he uses that screen, he can get downhill, but yeah, he pulls up, like you said, he likes to do that mid-range shot. But Trey does shoot the mid-range shot occasionally, but what he'll do is when he gets downhill, he'll try and drive all the way to the rim and try and get fouled or try to put up a layup more than DeJounte Murray. Getting to the rim, in my opinion.
Or kick it out. Trey kicks it out a lot.
Yeah, or kick it out.
So he don't really like. Yeah,
but that's putting pressure on the rim still when he does that.
Yes. You put pressure on the rim when you take a mid-range.
I don't think so.
Yes, because guess what? You make the defense slide over, try to help him protect. That's putting pressure on the rim, bro. You getting to the rim is you can get pressure at the rim without driving all the way to the rim, right? Because you make the defense adjust, right? And see, normally that leads little kickouts, little drop offs, and all this other stuff, right? So. I'm gonna shut up for about 30 seconds. So I'm gonna go through this bad spot going by Stone Mountain. That's no reception.
I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You out near me.
Well, but I like. Okay, we can move on. We can move on. But something I also want to talk about. This just came up was. That in these two wins that the Hawks have gotten last two nights, it was basically the same game. The Hawks got out to a good lead. They cut the deficit, the other team, a little bit going into halftime.
Yep.
They come out in the third quarter, stink it up. They tie the game or take the lead. And then in the fourth quarter, the Hawks take it back, take advantage of the opponent missing every single shot in the world, and then they come back and win the game. I mean, and that was pretty much the same win 2 times in a row. We won
same. I mean, a mirror. It was like a mirror. I mean, but it's so funny.
All right, I'm back, fellas. Can y'all hear me?
Because that's how we've been all season. I mean, that third quarter is always, hit or miss. We never know what's going to happen with this team in that third quarter. Yeah, we hear you.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we never know what's going to happen in that third quarter, and until it hits us.
But this is kind of why I don't believe it. It is fun. I wanted to go back to this real quick because Frank's in the chat. The same could be said if you miss any shot. Like any shot could be putting pressure on the rim because you have to adjust because the defense has to adjust to a shooter. So like if you shoot a 3. They have to adjust. If you shoot a mid range, they have to adjust. But if you get to the rim, there's a whole nother thing that because that means you've penetrated the defense. You've got a guy on your back. He's not in front of you, so the defense has to rotate. When somebody pulls up for a 3 or pulls up for a mid range shot, that's not always the case. You hear us, Foot?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you hear what I said about about taking the mid range versus the 3? Because Frank, this is what Frank is saying. He's saying that even any shot puts pressure on the defense. Like you can take a 3, you can take a mid range, but a lot of the times that's really not putting pressure on the rim or making the defense have to rotate. When you go downhill and when you get into the paint, that's assuming you've gotten by the first line of defense. Taking a pull-up 3 or pull-up mid-range, that doesn't do the same thing.
So here's what it doesn't always do the same thing. Let me say that first, right? But what I'm saying is that, let's say DJ, you come up for a little 10, 15, for a little 10 foot defense, you get behind, you get past the first guy, right? You got him on your back.
Mm-hmm.
That pulls that person down there up towards you to try to defend you, right? Rotation, right? Even with, I may even say this. Let's say you take a longer jump shot. When you have ball movement and people movement, especially in that little air crossing over, cutting through, curling out, whatever the case may be, from down there going through the lane, that's putting pressure on the rim. Because you're making them defend it. You make them defend you down there. You don't always have to have the ball down by the rim to put pressure on the rim. That's how I look at it. I think I understand what you're saying. I think we're saying the same thing. I'm just saying a little different what I call it, right? Because you get the ball movement and the people movement in that area cutting through. Guess what? You're putting pressure on the rim because somebody got to come over there and check you and stop you, right? At the rim, right? So it's not because somebody come over to defend you while you go in for a layup, but if you cut, prime example, they be back down the hell out of our ass, right? Right? Right?
Yeah.
After cutting it, that what they do? It wind up at the rim for a layup, right? I guess that's what I'm talking at. That's what they'll talk about. That's what I call putting pressure on the rim. You see?
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Make sense? So I
Yeah.
guess like a lot of times I think my definition may be different than a lot of people of what I call. Just like um what they call it when you say it all the time, Mike, what Kong would do when you go shoot a three. Get spread the floor and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah. Spacing. Yeah.
Yeah, spacing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
spacing.
why
Yeah.
people equate spacing with shooting jumpers and threes, right? But the funny thing about it, we don't create spacing when we play 5 out. We don't create spacing.
That is that.
Think about that, cause you know why? They ain't scared of us. They sit back and let us be self-checked, cause we gonna shoot a three. We we ain't gonna move the ball, or people ain't gonna move. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I said I don't. That ain't flow spaces to
I
me.
think
All
also
the time.
I think TJ brings up a good point here because DeJounte, and he has to drive more without Trey. It's just that he's because he's got to be the main guy to do it. But
Mhm.
he has created some good looks for Bay. I think Bogey, it's been a little bit hard for him to knock down some shots. He hasn't found his rhythm. It was great to see him do well last night. But then the difference is, so he's getting to the rim, creating good looks, but Trey looks for contact. That's something that DeJounte doesn't. That's where you get to the free throw line, supplements those bad shooting nights with good nights at the line,
Yeah.
or shooting a ton of threes. And that's what makes him a step above DeJounte offensively. I
No,
think
he's definitely above. You forgot to mention
no, no,
Trey. Trey finds people out of that drive. He's a great, excellent
yeah.
passer coming attacking, right?
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times he looked to pass it first, or it's about even, right? So when you look at it, so that's another thing, to talk about. You feel me? How you doing, Coach? What's
Yeah.
going on,
But we
man?
got
Hey, you still got the
what's good, Mike?
growing thing going on? Okay, yeah, we taking me arrested, but I told him not to get too. I'm
What's good, Mike?
okay, cool. Thank you.
What's happening? What's happening?
What's up, Mike?
Big Ant. What's going
Hey,
on,
man.
people? I want to just be real quick with it because I think you know the NBA, in my opinion, man. Obviously, we talk about defense and the refs all day, but I think it's important to realize the element of rebounding. It's a lost art. Like I look at the Hawks, I don't see a lot of issues. I mean, you can always say space, and you can always say they're missing shots, but like I don't see guys that have the love and the art of rebounding. Because if you look at outside of Clint Capella, it's like who's that guy who's going to attack the boards? There's nothing. And
Well,
and like
that's kind of weird because like defensive rebounding, I agree with
Mhm.
you. But
Mhm.
when you look at total rebounds, the Hawks are top 10 in rebounds, and I believe they're top 5 in offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean. Defensive rebound,
yeah,
because like defensive rebounds, that's how you can prevent other teams from going on runs if you rebound defensively. So it's like I know a lot of people. It's like so focused on the offensive side of the ball, it's like offensive rebound,
Mhm.
and that's great. But if you're not, it's almost like football. Like if you prevent the other team from scoring or getting second and third chances, like chances are you're going to win the game.
I
It's
mean,
not that difficult. So it's like if the Hawks just find a way, I think we have anything. I mean, with Quinn Snyder, you're gonna have good offense. I mean, he preaches put up shots. He preaches attacking. So if you're not rebounding the ball properly, like that's the issue that I see with the Hawks. I don't think they have a lot of guys who want to attack the rim defensively. Like just get the ball, man. Just get the ball. Find a way to get the ball in their hand. Like you don't have we don't have a lot of Udonis Haslams on the team. You know what I'm saying? We don't have guys that love to rebound, love the dirty work in basketball. It's like that's one thing. What I look at in the NBA, like that's one of my, and we can attribute that to the great uh Adam Silver with his rules and these refs. We can attribute that to them, but just rebound, man. Defensive rebound is just it's pitiful to me.
I love what TJ says here. Defensive rebounding means you get stops. We haven't
yeah,
been getting stops.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's how
hmm
they came back last night
Yeah.
because we kept giving them second, third, fourth chances.
hmm
I mean, come on, bro.
Just
Jared
grab
Allen
the
was
damn
crazy.
ball.
Jared Allen was crazy in that third.
Yeah, they went crazy.
Yeah, the Hawks. I believe the Hawks. Yeah, the Hawks lost their third quarter, 40-23,
Yeah,
last night. And the Cavs, they finally did hit some shots. Obviously, Karis LeVert. You get good Karis LeVert, you get bad Karis LeVert, and the Hawks got bad Karis, so they'll take it. But now I think the third quarter was pretty much the only time that he scored back-to-back buckets. He's kind of that volume, like microwave type scorer. But yeah, he didn't have a good night. But they were missing a ton of threes, and the Hawks would let them back in the game because of the amount of times that they just got in the paint.
hmm
Throughout the first half, the Cavs only had 24 points in the paint, and they ended then within the 50s. So that is one stat right there that you just say, okay, we saw the first two games in Cleveland when the Hawks really had trouble with Jared Allen. That was more like that. But in the first half in Atlanta, they were able to make the Cavs strictly a three-point shooting team. When you make someone strictly a three-point shooting team, if you're not making those threes, you're not going to win the game.
yeah,
And that's
exactly.
why the Hawks were so good in that first half, I think.
It's the equivalent to making a run first team pass all the time in football. You're not going to be able to sustain that over a drive. It's not going to happen.
The T just says, I'm predicting DJ's big game against Memphis. I mean, yeah, it does look that way. I mean, but Memphis is actually still a really good defensive team. Like, obviously, they're missing Bane. They're missing Marcus Smart, who would normally be guarding DeJounte, I'm sure. But they can't – their problem is scoring the ball. I mean, Luke Kennard has been their point guard most of the time since Bane and Smart went down. Obviously, not the greatest point guard in the world there, Luke Kennard. More of a shooting guard, just catch and shoot three guy. But they're physical. They're going to defend. But like I said, they struggle scoring the ball. So that's why my number one key for the Hawks to continue this win streak and get it to 3 games is get back on defense. Make Memphis play in the half court. Don't give them transition opportunities. And also that goes hand in hand with taking care of the basketball. Don't give them turnover and easy opportunities on the break.
Stop overthinking passes. That's what we got to stop doing. If the easy pass is there, make the easy play. Stop overthinking stuff. I mean, yeah, if you look down the court, it might be open then, but everybody knows in sports that window can close quickly. So you have to think ahead of time, like not just then. Like you have to, and they're young, so of course they're going to want to, go up, run up and down the floor. No, you make them a half court team, and
And yeah,
use that for 24 shot clock.
and normally without Trey, I'd say the Hawks need to play fast. They don't have a good offense without Trey either, but they do still have probably a better offense than Memphis does. So they don't really need to run up and down the court as fast as much and play this at such a fast paced game. I would keep an eye on the Hawks' pace and fast break points for sure against Memphis, because I would think it'd be a little bit slower paced if you're the Hawks. They want to make it more half court just because they're a better offense than the Grizzlies. And this Grizzlies team that I mentioned, they can't score the ball in bunches. So in theory, the Hawks defense, having been better over the past 6 games, they should hold this Memphis team to at least below 120.
Yeah, I think they can hold this team down to below 120. I think we can do that, but it all depends on turnovers.
Yeah, can the Hawks limit the Memphis Grizzlies' transition opportunities and the way they can get on run? That's gonna be the number one thing. But any other final thoughts before we head out?
Just win. That's all. That's all I ask for. Just win.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to Georgia Sports Nation tonight. We plan to be back Thursday at 5:30 next week, but there's a chance it might be moved or canceled. So make sure to keep that in mind. But without further ado, thank you all for listening. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.